Do this. All right, so Zelda 2 is it's definitely a more difficult game. If you would agree with me there. This game does not take like it doesn't take too kindly to beginners. Let's just go there. It's got a very huge learning curve. It's got a very high skill ceiling. And there's a lot of backup and safety strats you can get. There's a lot of backup 1-ups you can grab. There's a lot of backup experience bags you can grab, P bags, if you're familiar with the term. And there's encounter manipulations you can do. There's ways to fight certain enemies. There's ways to skip certain enemies. We're going to try and go over that within this video. I'm going to go over mostly beginner and intermediate strats. Advanced strats, I would probably direct you straight to the speedruns.com page, where they have a lot of the advanced tutorials and things like that, because I don't want to make a 45-minute video, because nobody's going to want to watch that.
How dare you? My tutorial was 2 hours. How dare you?
Look.
To be fair, I do agree with what you were saying about Z2 being pretty rough for beginners, because it's a very dynamic game. It's a game where, like, for example, you play Contra, you have a jump button and a shoot button, and that's it. The combat in Z2 is so robust, and there's so much that you can do with movement and fighting, and I don't say that to scare you. I say that because this is like the most addictively fun speedrun I've ever learned in my life, and I think you'd agree with me.
Yeah, this is actually one of the very few NES games that I've ever played that actually does not eat your inputs. Like, this game actually is very, very smooth with, like, attacks. And a lot of the times, yes, you'll notice, like, if you're doing, like, a falling stab, that Link's sword won't come out. It's because, like, when Link lands and stabs in the same frame, it just completely removes his, like, stab. So it's not that it's eating an input, it's just that you were late on the stab there. And a lot of those inputs fall directly on the player as opposed to, like, the game. So, like, games like SMB2, that game is hungry for inputs.
There's almost the only other games I can even think of that don't need inputs on the NES, like Zelda 1 rarely does. And I mean rarely. I think in all my years of running that game, I've maybe had a handful.
Yeah.
But no, the good thing about this category, this goal, is that there's only one route. It's pretty straightforward, but like Ice was saying, there's a lot of safeties and stuff we're going to go over. And without further ado, I think we should just jump into it. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to make a save state like right as it's loading, so I have to keep like resetting my console. Sorry about the language there. But yeah, so essentially with this run, you have Link. You can jump, stab, crouch stab, jump and crouch stab, down stab, up stab. Down stab is going to be your absolute best friend. It is probably the most overpowered attack in any like side-scrolling RPG game that I've ever played. Because of how iframes work in this game, if you can get an enemy into like a low ceiling corridor, you can jump into the enemy's hitbox and just mash down and it'll hit them that many times. And that's how we get through like most of the actual like full speed run.
And we will be using that in a couple spots. There's a scorpion in a cave coming soon that we will show you. You can use down stab to just skip right over him.
Yep.
And a few other enemies like the spicy chickens where we'll use down stab and kind of bounce off their head or use their iframes to pass through them without taking any hits.
Yeah. So in this game, the way that encounters work, so encounters spawn, I don't know the exact frame data, but we basically use audio cues to know when encounters are going to actually spawn. And it's also based off of step count as well. So if you do this every single time right when you start the game, it doesn't matter if you walk left out of here. If you walk left, you save exactly one frame. but then you got to remember to switch your D-pad movement to the right. But if you do that, if you walk out of the Northern Palace left and you just hold right, that encounter will just walk above you every single time. And we use that just to kind of like get through it. But if you hold right, it's the same scenario. I like to go right. I don't care about the one frame. I hold right because I don't have to switch my movement on my thumb off the D-pad to go through. Breaking the boulder, you just press A on it. You already have the hammer in the game, so you can just break the boulder with it. Swamp tiles will make you move at 1/2 of your speed, or 1/3 of your speed, whatever it is. So you kind of want to avoid moving on swamp tiles at all costs.
I just want to make a quick note on what you were saying about the palace a second ago. So if you're worried about that one frame, don't be, because you're going to be much more interested in a strategy we're going to be showing you in a minute to manipulate a back spawn. And that one frame will not matter. It'll literally be the same frame for that manipulation. So don't even worry about that. Just go right.
Yeah. And then just another quick note. Grass tiles will always get you the farthest away spawns of enemies. So if you can kind of like manipulate a grass spawn, it gives you the most time to avoid encounters, basically, or to like juke the encounters or dodge, or what we like to call slinking. And I'll go over slinking later. That's a little bit more like intermediate advanced, and that's something I can go over later. But right now I'm going to show most of the safeties on the western continent here. And they're pretty out of the way, but for a new runner, I would definitely recommend grabbing them if you're not comfortable with if you're not comfortable with walking all the way to Great Palace, because we're going to up A in GP. And that up A is going to basically, give us full life, full magic. I got the encounter. I got the 1-up skip. Nice. It's gonna basically just give us full everything. So right here, this encounter, it's diagonal down left from the boulder. There is a forced encounter right here. So there's always an encounter on this tile, and it's going to have a 1-up. Keep in mind, if you do grab that 1-up and you game over in GP, or you game over outside of GP, reset your console.
Actually, we might want to check with Best in S. I think they said this hack brings those back, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check with that then. But in the meantime, if it doesn't, reset your console and start the file fresh. That way, all your overworld stuff respawns back into the encounters. The other backup 1-up that I'm going to show you here is past this boulder, which is take that encounter right there on that row tile so you don't get any enemies. And then we're going to walk down here, go past all of these graveyard tiles. I like to do that, spawn those early. You may take an encounter right here. That's okay. It's 6 seconds. And you're going to walk... What's up?
I was going to say, if you're going to only get 1 extra life, this is the one you want to get. This is the easier one. It's a little faster. And before you say, oh, well, we're going to up A in GP anyways, that is true unless you are going for a specific XP route. Now, I believe Ice already routed all this out to show you guys what we think is the best XP route. Now, top runners are not going to worry about that. We're not leveling up. If you're going for the fastest time, you're going 877. You're going directly to GP. You're going directly to the end of the game. Yeah. But if you want Magic 8, which is OP, and we'll go over that in a second, there's an XP route as well. If you don't want to up A at GP, you might want to grab these lives, because if you up A at GP, you lose all the XP. So you're either going to have to level up before you get to the Great Palace, or you're going to need the lives necessary to survive long enough to level up and beat the game.
Yeah. And grabbing these 1-ups is basically like it's a safety net in case you're not comfortable with making it to VOD. And again, you can always route these out and save your time. I would say probably walking all the way over to the swamp 1-up loses roughly 40-ish seconds. And then walking to this one probably loses like 20-25 seconds, depending on how many encounters you grab. So for the location of this 1-up, it's on a diagonal upright from this water tile. This will get you the extra 1-up here. So that would give you a total of 5 1-ups to walk through, all the way through Valley of Death, all the way through the Wilson fences and into Great Palace. Now, if you're planning on doing any type of experience routing and you don't want to do the 1-ups, or if you just want to do both, I would recommend that just like starting that off like as like your first few runs, and then like start easily working your way into like taking a lot of these like 1-ups out of your route and moving on. If you want to reset your encounter stuff, you can enter this town and just immediately walk out and then take the raft. I don't know what type of encounter you're going to get here, but the first thing you want to do here is, if you're XP routing, you want to enter this forest tile. This forest tile is going to have these coconut eyeballs, but the biggest thing we're worried about in here is this pea bag. This pea bag is 200 experience. So if we're going for a level, your pea bag routing is going to get you at least 1700 experience. So basically it would be up to you to grab an extra 300 experience in Valley of Death, which quite frankly there's about 1,000 experience there for you to grab. So
yeah, it's gonna be scary, but we have a really cool strat. Actually, Ice came up, I don't know if he came up with this, but he has a really cool strat he's gonna show you guys in the very last room before we get to GP. That'll pretty much give you a free 300 XP. So if you follow his route, you're golden.
Yeah. So after this, my suggestion over here for the next XP routing, if you can take encounters on road tiles, it'll give you a blank encounter. I would say come over here first, just to kind of route it in. You have the boots, so you can walk on water. Yeah, you're gonna want to walk all the way over here, and then there's an encounter spot. Let's get rid of these. Right here. You're gonna have to use the jump spell. And you're gonna jump up here, and this is going to be a 500 experience bag. So that puts us already at 700 experience, just routed in. After this cave, you're gonna want to walk all the way over here, and come over to here, bait these encounters onto the water, so they just disappear, and enter this cave. This cave is a little long, but it has another 500 experience bag at the end of it.
This is kind of what we were talking about a second ago, where some folks might not want to collect these because they are quite out of the way. If you'd rather kill enemies in Great Palace to speed this process up, you can do that. The problem is, again, like we were saying, if you up A at GP, you will lose all the XP you've gained. So, and getting 2000 XP by Thunderbird is not going to be easy. So you're probably going to have to route in some XP regardless, and that's what makes this tricky. So you're going to have to be your own judge. Do you feel comfortable with killing enemies in GP and not taking that up A? If the answer is no, or you're not sure, you're probably better off getting all this XP. That way you can up A when you get there and get all your lives back.
This is going to be a little bit more for my intermediate players. And if you're wanting to do like encounter skips like this, I'm going to try and figure out a manipulation for this encounter here that involves entering this town here. But I won't worry about this right now, but I'm going to try and figure out something about this encounter. See, that thing just followed me. I was trying to see if I could do like the all keys encounter manip. So you have right here, these are what we call Wilson fences. There's an encounter right here to the south. It's a forced encounter. And basically you just have these Lizalfos at the top of the fence that throw boulders at you. And it's, excuse me, they're annoying because they throw where you're moving to, not where you are. So they're always going to trace Link's like character sprite and throw ahead of him. right here, one screen to the south, one block to the south here, is another one of the fences. Now, if you're not looking to basically like route in killing the stuff at the end of Valley of Death, you can always just do this and just try and thunder as many of these guys as possible at the top to get as much XP as you can. And what you can do is you can just kill a couple of the Moas, the eyeballs, or you could just kill those 2 Lizalfos there. The orange Lizalfos are worth 150.
And that downstab is relatively free. You can just kind of bounce on his head. It's kind of... It'll take a couple reps to get used to it, but it's not too terribly difficult.
Yeah. And then here, if you're not comfortable with killing Lizalfos at the end of Valley of Death, because the blue ones have a slightly different and smaller hitbox than the reds and the oranges, you can always come on the grass tiles here and go back and forth in the small encounter.
Oh yeah.
And just kill 2 of those, and bam, 300 experience.
We'll still show you what we were talking about. It's probably a little faster, but this is a good option too.
Right here to the...
Oh, go ahead.
No, say right here to the right. If you used any type of magic throughout going to get to this like Valley of Death, the red tiles, this tile right here has a red jar on it, and a red jar is going to give you a full magic restoration. And what you're going to want to do here, starting from this tile on, is you're going to want to buffer spell. And what spell does is it turns everything on the screen, with the exception of the blue Lizalfos coming up, into blue slimes, also known as bots. And it's going to allow you to basically just skip all the encounters, and I'll show you coming up here. So whenever you take an encounter here...
so real quick, there's something... so what he did entering the VOD on that blank tile back there, that was a forced encounter. You can skip that by taking an encounter on that same tile. If you miss that encounter skip, for any reason, it's better to be safe than sorry. I think it's technically just a large encounter that really has that.
Yeah, I can show. So if you try to do the encounter skip here, that was weird. I'm not gonna take magic here, mainly because I want people to see like how much magic they're using when they use like spell and stuff like that. Because Magic 8 does reduce the cost of spell. So for this is a forced encounter right here. And if you miss that encounter skip, so if you take an encounter on the same tile, like an overworld moving encounter, if you take one of those on the same tile as a forced encounter, you can do what we call an encounter skip. And it's relatively easy to set up. It's just you got to get the right enemy movement, and a lot of the times we set up the enemy movement by giving, if we take an encounter, we do a series of stabs to lose a specific amount of frames to set up a specific walk. It sounds like it's difficult and it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually pretty straightforward. So on this screen, if you miss this encounter skip and you immediately walk left off the screen, you actually despawn the red jar down at the bottom right. And in order to avoid that, if say you get this encounter, in order to avoid that, scroll the screen and then exit, and then you can redo this. Or you can just walk the encounter. Now that encounter is dangerous because it has a lot of those flying Moas and the Wilsons, the Lizalfos throwing the boulders. And it's typically a dangerous encounter. So I do highly recommend at least trying to learn that skip. Or if not, if you miss the encounter skip, you can walk right, scroll the screen a little bit, and then exit left and try the encounter skip again. By doing that, it actually removes the despawn of the jar. So Valley of Death. This is probably the most annoying part of the entire walk. I'm not going to use one of my spell charges here because I already did. So right here, under this first little overhang, there is an encounter, like a forced encounter right there to your left. You don't want to walk this encounter. It has a lot of garbage enemies. It has a lot of strong enemies and a lot of these moas flying around, and there's a lot of lava. And you don't want to fall in the lava, because that's just an instant kill. So what we do is we're going to set up encounter skips here. And then we're going to use spell there, reset up the spell casts. And it basically removes all the moas on the screen, and it gives you basically like a free walk.
And if you're having trouble with these encounter skips, you can use pause on the overworld screen. Pressing start pauses the game, and you can see where everything is, so you can buffer the encounter. They will always spawn on the same audio cue, the same audio note. So when you hear that note, you can pause the game and read where your encounters are, and then time your movement so that you'll run into the enemy on the encounter tile. So it's hard to do it unbuffered. Yeah. But it is possible to do it unbuffered. If you're having trouble with it, I would buffer it.
And you can kind of like rhythmically mash the start button to kind of see like which direction that they're walking in. And then you can actually buffer your movement out of a pause, which helps. So if you see an enemy like moving down into an encounter you want to walk into, you can buffer, like say it's walking down and you're coming from the bottom of it, you can buffer the up button out of your unpause, and it'll walk straight up into that encounter. And this is, alright, so this screen right here, that's a 500 bag. This tile right here is the final XP bag that I would route in for anybody doing XP routing. That'll get you, like I said, 1700. Try to see if we can get a better spawn, but I guess not. That'll get you the 1700 for all the bag XP. And then, like I said, it's basically up to the runner themselves to get that last 300. Right here. So a good visual cue for this forced encounter right here. I like to look at the 4 tiles to the right here that are like right on the right side of Link. The second tile is the final safe tile before another forced encounter. And the forced encounter is another one of these screens here that you just don't want to take. And I can kind of show you like why you don't want to take these screens. You got to get rid of an Lizalfos. Then you have Moas, and then you die. Things like that. It's just it's such a super unsafe encounter. So to kind of show you like what the entire encounter looks like. So you have a series of 3 tile jumps, which is Link's max jump range, unless you're like moving at max speed. Then you can 50-50 make a 4 tile jump. It's not a fun encounter. It's very dangerous. It's very easy to die on, and you can easily game over on a screen like this. Which is why I encourage learning the encounter manips, or the encounter skips here, not manips. Just because it makes it into these encounters, which are tremendously easier to avoid. One thing I do want to point out before I move on here. So as far as the type of encounters you get on the overworld here, so you have a small encounter and a large encounter. The small encounters are indicated by the little slime, and then the large encounters are indicated by the Ganon sprite. The small encounters on Valley of Death, with the spell cast, right if you get a small encounter, right when you go into that encounter, you want to immediately use the spell. Reason being, it's gonna destroy both of those Moas and give you a free walk out of here. Now, if you get, we'll get good at that time, but if you get a large encounter, there's going to be a slight delay on when you cast spell. So let's see if we can get. That's gonna be that was the large one. So the large encounters, there's going to be a slight delay on where the bots or the Moas are going to be, and you'll also have a blue Lizalfos here blocking your exit. So if you take a large encounter use the spell later when walking left. If you take a small encounter, use the spell immediately. I'm gonna take a death piece here. Just to refill magic. Just take it on the next screen, the max. And I'll go over this room as well. So there's a couple ways to approach this room coming up here. So this scorpion we call Max, just a member of the community, one of the longtime Zelda 2 runners. We named the scorpion Max, and it just kind of stuck with it. So you can do a series of things to skip this scorpion, because he's in your way. You can cast spell on him, just remove him from combat entirely. Or if you don't want to waste magic, I'd say get about right here, and you can kind of do that and kill him. Or if you get like right here when you're moving at max speed, like right in between this crease.
You can speed.
What's up?
You said when you're moving at max speed?
Yeah, basically you're moving at max speed. I'm perfectly fine if you want to close out the YouTube window now. With these terrible puns, it's absolutely okay. But yeah, so somewhere is like around here when you're moving at max speed. Just jump, down stab, and because he always moves forward, you'll basically just you'll get that sound effect of this, but it'll be constant. You'll hear the and you'll just kind of like go through him and past him. Here, you have a blue Lizalfos coming up. Just walk, jump, tink over him. Keep going. Exiting this cave, though, when you exit this cave, immediately hold down and try and make it to where you walk perfectly. Because if you do that, you'll time the encounter correctly. And you can make the first cycle of the encounter skip, because there's another forced encounter right here. So like to show you like what it looks like. So upon immediately exiting this cave, you get that first spawn. Let's see if we can get the encounter skip with it. So that was the pause buffer strat for the encounter skip. And that's going to be your last forced encounter here. And then you have your final cave. Now, this cave is the cave that JSR was talking about a little while ago. So if you don't want to stop and get all this XP on the side of like different encounters or killing things in Valley of Death, this cave right here just gets you a guaranteed 300 experience. The only thing you have to do is land one single stab on a blue Lizalfos, and you're golden. And what you can do here, if you want to do that, if you just jump and stab as you're falling, it'll guarantee a hit against him. So just jump and then stab. Doing that will basically set him up to die. So drag him with you all the way over here, because there's another Lizalfos here, and you can just drag them together. And then I don't have enough for thunder, by the way. What you can do?
Thunder or...
Hold on.
Well, you could guess. I mean, if you have an extra life, if you wanted to just... I mean, if you died fighting them and you had the extra life in your pocket, no big deal. You'll have a second try.
Yeah. Okay, let's show you again. So, walk in, wait, falling, crouch stab him. Doesn't matter if you get hit, because you're going to be taking a level up here, and then you're going to up A in Great Palace. So drag him over, cast Thunder. Insta-kills both of them, and there's your 300 experience. So you have the 3 500 bags on the overworld, the 200 bag right after the raft, and then the 300 experience here. That'll get you to Magic 8. I definitely recommend Magic 8 over Life 8, because it makes your jump spell cheaper, and you're going to be using jump and GP, Great Palace. It makes spell cheaper, and it makes thunder significantly cheaper. It brings the thunder spell down to 64, which if you're looking at your magic bar at the top, each square is 16 magic. So 4 squares would be a single thunder cast at magic 8. And you want to make sure you have enough at the end of Great Palace. Now, Great Palace is a different beast, and the reason that we up A in there, I'll show you. Let me get Magic 8.
Well, what you could do, Ice, is if you wanted to show for folks that don't want to get all the P bags, you could try to show them how you would get the XP in GP, and just insinuate the up A.
You would have to get like 1,000 experience outside of GP in order to get enough experience inside of GP.
Yeah,
it's highly recommended to get the experience outside of GP, because the amount of enemies that you fight along the way to Thunderbird is just, it's not enough.
I guess if you really wanted to do that, just to keep this video short, I would suggest killing some of the spicy chickens on the way, because that would give you.
I can do this.
4 of them, right?
3.
There's the one at the start. Okay, so yeah, like, but yeah, like I agree with Ice though. Like honestly, if you're gonna level up, this is the best way to do it. If the time lost for leveling up is too much, then I would suggest just learning the Magic 7 strats, which we're gonna do. We're gonna show you the Magic 7 strats, which is basically just the real difference is gonna be the Thunderbird fight.
Yeah, Thunderbird and Darklink. Learning how to fight Darklink is pretty important. I'm just getting enough experience to level. I don't have a practice hack or anything. None of that fun stuff. I'm playing on the Big 2017 ROM. Excuse me. Moa. Thank you. Alright, one more encounter should do. Because I'm gonna up A.
And again, you won't have to do this as long as you follow the XP route we showed you.
Yeah.
And don't take attack 9, or we will make fun of you on stream.
Yeah, if you take attack 9, it'll actually just take all your experience and just give you a 1-up. So please, when you take a level up, please pay attention to what you give that 1-up to, or that level up to.
I was just joking about it. We won't really make fun of you, but we might outlive you a little bit about it.
There's a checklist and a spreadsheet. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's not.
It's a long-standing meme, and we've all done it. I've done it. Ice has done it. We've all taken attack 9 because you're in a hurry, especially in a race where you're like, oh, I know my level up's coming up, and you start mashing the button, and all your work will be for nothing. You'll have lost multiple minutes setting up a Magic 8 not being able to take that. Because if you up A in here, you lose all your XP, so it's like, you might as well have not even done it.
Yep. All right. Great Palace. All right. So this is the final area. This is the goal of the game here, is to finish this palace. If you're playing on hardware, it's the same concept of Zelda 1. You press the start button, you press up A on controller 2, and it simulates a game over. It's allowed in the Big 20. It'll restock all your 1-ups back to 3. It refills all your magic, refills all your life, and it removes all your experience. It's a nice tool to have if you're not comfortable with playing, Great Palace. And it's this is the only palace in the game that you spawn at the entrance of if you game over. Anywhere else, you will spawn back at start, which is very, very, very huge time loss.
And that's important to note if you are, like, say you're XP farming and you're on your last life and your health gets low in that last cave that we were just showing you, and you're trying to get that level up, you need to weigh your options there, because if you game over in that cave, you're going all the way back to the start of the game. Whereas if you decide to maybe come into the Great Palace and fight a spicy chicken, rather than fighting those guys, you'll lose some time, but then you can up A and start right back here. So just keep that in mind. Don't game over in VOD is what I'm getting at. Do not. You can game over in GP. You'll start right here.
Yeah. And spicy chicken. All right, let's go over spicy chicken because we're calling everything by the community names and we're not actually explaining what they are.
You want to talk about Scott Bakula?
All right, so immediately upon entering GP, and this is going to be for beginners, intermediate, advanced, master, experts, dude, anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Buffer the fairy spell. And I'll do this just to kind of reset the RNG. Buffer the fairy spell. So we're going to take down the Great Barrier. And we're going to do this nice little long and very tedious walk. And you're going to come down here. Immediately cast the fairy spell. Go left. Go all the way to the ceiling. This is your first spicy chicken. So this is called a fuckaroo. But this is a PG stream, so we're not going to call it the fuckaroos. We're going to call it the spicy chicken. This is a very annoying enemy. This enemy gives you 200 experience, and as you can see, like the type of attack that this enemy does, it fires arching fireballs, and sometimes there's no indication on which fireballs will do it, but sometimes the fireballs will travel back like that. So basically, you want to cast fairy, just fly over it. You avoid damage every time. Refresh this fairy spell. This room here, we're just gonna follow it as normal above. Right here, do not walk on this tile that's under Link right there. If you do, you'll fall down here, like so. There's an invisible pit there that Link will just basically fall through. And you'll have to go all the way back and do this like walk again. It's a 2-tile jump, so you can even be stopped and just do that. But it's these 2 tiles right here. Your pillar down here is your indicator on when you want to jump. So when you get to the pillar, jump. And you'll avoid it every time. Your next screen, it's just a downward elevator. We're gonna walk right. And I'll go over an easy to remember, like, pathing through Great Palace. We just call it left, right, right, left. And it just makes life easier. This is the hardest screen in the game. This screen right here. So,
hold on, you said no advanced strats, Ice.
Alright, hardest screen in the game, alright? What you're going to want to do on the screen is you're going to want to hold right. If you hold right, you avoid all damage.
But look at all the damage you have to avoid. Oh my goodness, I don't know, man.
Frame perfect. Frame freaking perfect.
What a god.
Alright, coming up here, we have Spicy Chicken 2. If you're not comfortable with fighting spicy chickens, you can cast the jump spell. And basically kind of like wait for an opening, jump through, then jump over. And just go through. Make sure you refresh the fairy spell there. This room here, you're gonna experience these little flying little statues. They're called raw statues, and they're gonna continuously spawn even if you kill them. Beginner-wise, I would wait for the second one to spawn, and then kill them both. That way, when you're walking right...
Which, by the way, in this room, you can walk right, and you don't have to jump. They will, until you reach the blocks. Like, if you're just walking right in that room, those raws will fly underneath Link. In only that room. In the room coming up later, they will hit you, but here you can. And also, one technique that Ice was just doing is the double block break, where he jumps into the block, and then falling while crouched, he stabs those blocks right at the bottom of the top block. And what that does is it knocks out both with one sword.
Oh, I can kind of show off the down stab thing here, too.
Because that's important, because if you don't... Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go finish it.
That's important to know, not so much for this room, but in a few rooms, we have a very infamous room of the Z2 run in this great palace that you're going to want to make sure your block break technique is on point. If you like, you might want to practice a bit in this room before the next one.
Yeah, the next time you see this room, like JSR mentioned earlier, Scott Bakula is coming for you. And he's not friendly.
Why do we call him Scott Bakula? Is he an enterprise enemy?
I mean, so when you're traveling through the room, you have to quantum leap to get by Mr. Bakula.
Yeah, we'll explain the quantum. Actually, you can probably show the quantum leap right here if you. Yeah. No, you don't have to jump. You don't have to jump.
I mean, I got a blue jar. So the reason that I was telling y'all earlier about downstabbing and how broken it is. So I'm gonna jump here, and I'm just gonna abuse that hitbox, and we call that a jackhammer. Because the way that it works, enemies, their iframes are non-existent on like most enemies, if not all, and it allows you to basically just mash down and do max damage. So what we call a quantum leap in here. So quantum leap in Bakula's room, in Scott Bakula's room, that's the height that you want to be in, is right here, where Link's sprite is at max. The blue chicken knight, I'm not gonna use his vanilla name, this is a PG stream, can only jump as high as this block right here. And in a quantum leap, my visual cue for quantum leap is this block, like right here, right before it. I like to jump and buffer a stab. And what that'll do is that'll break those two blocks as you're going up, and it'll only push Link back just enough for him to hold forward and land inside the blocks here. So to show you again, it's gonna be another in spawn watch. You'll walk right into that, and the blue Faka, or the blue chicken knight, you want to call it, can only jump and stab at this height. So that quantum leap basically just skips everything, and you can basically just come in here and do this, and you'll basically be able to walk through the blue chicken free of charge. Alright, so for the next room. The next room, if you're not comfortable with fighting these things, cast shield. These enemies here, you have one of two patterns that you can get. You can get that late jump pattern that I just got, or there's always a chance that when you enter, he'll already be jumping. Like that. So that pattern is pretty much, it's like a 95% guaranteed damage. You have a small window, and I can try and see if I can get it. You have like a very small window to get like a jumping stab, and it knocks him back a little bit. I just need him to actually jump forward. Nope, he just doesn't want to cooperate here. Come on now. Shuffle RNG a little bit. No? Okay. That's never happened before.
We call that tutorial luck.
Yeah, I know, right? Alright, mister. Listen here, pal. I'm trying to show people things. Why are you being like this? Oh my goodness. Alright, let's try this. Oh, it just casted something. So you can always do that to kind of avoid. Let's see if I can do this again. So you can do something like that to avoid it. If he jumps a little bit later than this, you can always upstab like that, and sometimes it'll push him away. But if you get the very, very earliest jump like this, just jump, and you can do that, and skip. This room, break those two, hold down, break this two, and you're through. You're going to want to buffer fairy here. You're going to go down 3 elevator screens here. If you're low on magic, you can always come down to the second room here. Or it was not this one, it was the one above, I think. You turn on no clip and you walk through the wall. Okay, yeah, it's the first screen. I'm sorry. Come into this screen. You're about 65-70% of the way down. Cast jump. And you can get a red jar there. That's a good backup safety there. Just to get full magic. Rebuffer fairy. We're gonna come down here, we're gonna go right. So cast fairy, hold right, go all the way to the ceiling. And we're gonna skip Spicy Chicken 3. This screen. So this screen is very tricky, I want to say. There's a way to set up a free walk on this screen. To basically, because if you do this and you jump and you downstab him, now you're stuck having to jump over these and avoid them because they're continuously spawning above you. If you jump early and you just crouch stab them like this, you don't have to worry about that. They're gonna spawn low. I like to do a stab here and then try that. Sometimes it will manipulate another jar here. This one up here has a 50-50 chance of being a red chicken knight, or a red jar. And it's based off of the frame of the room. So jump, kill, jump over, down stab, jump, 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 stab, jump. Don't get hit and miss like that, like I did. Redo it. Jump, jump, down stab, jump, 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 stab, jump, up stab. See, we got the red knight. Now you can respawn the room and just keep doing this. You lose a lot of time by farming it because it's not actually 50-50, it's actually like 1 in 5 billion. It's kind of like Zelda 1's bomb percentage chance. They claim it's 41%, but they forgot to add the 0.000000 in front of that 41%. If you're low health here and you have the magic, cast life, and then grab the jar. Alright, this room coming up. This room right here. This is the infamous Scott Bakula room. I'm gonna show it to you how I normally do it. I probably will mess up. I will show it how I normally do it with the quantum leaps and skipping Bakula, and then I'm gonna show safety strats around it. So, entering the room, cast jump, quantum leap, don't break those.
Oh, so that's actually a good point. While he's doing this, go ahead and keep going, guys. The reason he's doing the quantum leap is not only because it looks really cool. The blue Focas, they can't fire their beams higher than that block. So if you nail this first try like he just did, that Foca will never ever get you unless you fall in between the blocks, like he just did. So it's the safest way to get through it, and it's barely slower than what you could possibly do on the ground, which, honestly, you're going to get hit. So that's one way to tackle that room.
So to kind of show you again. So see, like, if I'm standing right here, he only has a height of 5. So he will never be able to jump higher than 5 tiles up here, meaning he'll never be able to hit us. Now, as far as safety strats, so if you're not comfortable with what I just showed you, like the first run through, what you can do is get up here. It doesn't matter if you go to 3 or 4. Come up here, break all these blocks. Come down here, break these 2. Now, this is going to be very slow, but it ensures you get through undamaged. Stand here, and whenever he jumps into you, just stab him. You have to hit him 4 times, and then he dies. He'll always get pushed back like that, but once you do that, he's dead. You're free to walk through the rest of this room.
It's important to know you don't have to get the Quantum Leap in order to skip Beakula, but
it's just the fastest, basically.
Yeah, it's not only faster, but you'll probably take damage if you don't.
Yeah. If you're trying to aim for speed and you want to just skip past Beakula, but you're not like comfortable with the Quantum Leap, so just pretend like I failed the Quantum Leap. So, oh no, I failed it. So just get back up to that 5th tile. Make sure you have shield spell on. Walk under him. If you need to, kind of push him back.
Yeah, with shield on, you're taking half the damage, so you realistically can get hit 5 or 6 times with full health and still have half your health remaining. Yeah. So you're not, as long as you remember to cast shield here, you're not going to be in any danger. But you notice, though, Ice made stairs to get up. Look where Scott's going. Scott's not, he's a pretty persistent Beakula. He's not just going to let you get away with this atrocity that you've achieved by making him look like a fool. He's got one job to do.
And that's to throw sword beams at you.
So, try to get the Quantum Leap. If you don't get the Quantum Leap, quickly get up high. And then, like Ice was just showing you, either push him back or make a run for it. But if you miss the Quantum Leap, I would cast shield every single time.
You could always do this too, like if you hit him once or twice, and I can show you, like, you can hit him like this, drop down, and then wait for him to jump, and then go for the second Quantum Leap. That's also another safety measure you can do, because once you hit him once, basically these things get enraged, and he starts becoming a rabbit, as you can see. He's no longer a chicken, he's now a rabbit. And he's angry because you stabbed him in the eye. I mean, I'd be too if, somebody ran up to me and jabbed me in the eye with a sword. So to show you again, this is the most dangerous room in the entire palace. So like if you don't get the Quantum Leap, just break the 5th block here and go up. Take the safety strat, jump. Wait for him to jump, stab him, drop down, block the first dagger, walk, and then go for Quantum Leap 2. And then, bam, you are through Scott Beakula's room. You can kind of give a little dance.
Don't worry, you can celebrate, but your friend will be back for one finale. So if you love your Scott Beakula shows, don't worry, he's got one more episode for you.
This one pretty straightforward, just don't fall in the lava. If you're low on magic and what in the hell? That bubble is cheated. Okay. Sure, where's my cheat codes video game? Yeah. If you're low on health, or like you don't have magic to cast, like life here or something, and I'll do. So you could just walk in here, take a death abuse. This is probably going to be one of your safest death abuses in here. You'll lose a life, but you'll respawn with full magic, full life. And then continue over.
There's actually a second spot you can do this as well, just before Thunderbird. So if you end up taking hits, but you feel like you're safe to keep going, there's going to be another spot to take a death abuse further in the palace. So don't feel like you have to take that one, but that is the first easy one to take.
Yeah. This room here, I love just casting jump here. Fairy is safer, but you run the risk of running into this thing. But jump here. I'm gonna just walk this from again. Jump here is actually, it's almost free. You just have to time the jump right. That's all. And then it's free. So cast jump. Walk right here. Once you see the big bubble, jump over the first fireball, then jump over the chicken. It's pretty lenient with the jump. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about skipping him. If you're not planning on taking the death abuse at the end of this entire walk through this palace, then don't cast any spells and just hope that you don't get bopped by the Spidey Chicken. This next room. Alright, so if you liked Scott Bakula, I hope you're ready for Bakula's revenge. So this next room here is the same room that we ran into earlier with the red fucker. It's the same concept, except now he's more pissed off. Because the blue fuckers throw twice as many daggers, they're jumping twice as many times, and they're more aggressive, and they follow you to the end of the screen.
And they do more damage. And they take more damage.
Yeah. So again, it's the same concept in this room. Don't do that. I think it's a crouch stab for this one if he jumps like that. You can do that. If you get through that unscathed like that, you can... Alright, look here, pal. Alright. So let me just show you like a walkthrough of this room. Crouch in that corner, you might get hit by a dagger. If you can get through this chicken... Here, I'll just show it to you. If you can get through this chicken without taking damage, you just crouch in this corner, it avoids the big bubble. But...
I'm just saying, I want to see them bring back the Foca in some Tears of the Kingdom DLC, man.
Just be careful if you hit those things, and don't let Bakula chase you up there. If you let Bakula chase you up there, you're gonna probably take a death.
Well, you don't want to fight Bakula in Tears of the Kingdom?
No. Wow, spoilers. But yeah, same concept, except at the end of the palace, at the end of the room, there's not a blue bot. It's a mega bubble. And we want to avoid mega bubbles, because not only do they drain a lot of life, they also do a lot of damage, and we don't want to take a lot of that damage. So it's one more time. Let me actually get different RNG here, because you're not always gonna get that pattern. So wait for him to jump up here, crouch in this corner, you go past them, break blocks,
and then underlay.
Right here, buffer fairy, if you have the magic for it. If you haven't taken a death abuse, kill him before he tries to kill me.
I was actually going to mention life in the fairy.
There are 2 safety strats right in this room. So to the right here, and I cannot stress this enough. Please be careful. If you hold down too long, you will dip into the lava. There is a fairy right here. If you have like full magic or you have an extra life, you don't mind, dying right before Thunderbird. Come over here, and I like to break these 2, break this one, break that, drop down, get the fairy, and then make a staircase back up. That's the safety for the fairy. Now, over here, you have to be careful. Over here, if you walk too far to the left here, Link just instantly teleports into the lava.
I didn't know that!
Yeah. The hitbox for this lava tile right here actually starts right there.
That's hilarious. I never knew that.
So you have to be careful if you're going. So yeah, like right there, I'd say is probably like your safest bet. Right here. This is like the last tile you can walk before Link decides to just teleport into the lava. If you're not comfortable with making these jumps, because there are bots all over these things, and bots suck.
They don't do what he did that.
Just do this. Ferry over it.
Because I'll tell you, from experience, those bots never do what they're doing for ice in a run. They will troll you. They are unpredictable, and they will knock you in the lava, and now you're not going to get an extra safety life. Now you're going to replace the life you just lost in this tomato soup that apparently Link trips into and dies. I didn't know. It's like, be careful. Like Ice is saying, cast fairy if you're not sure.
I think it even does it on the ferry too. But yeah, if you have the available life for it, just cast fairy. Go above the room. Don't risk it because it becomes a moot point. Going to get this because over on this screen, we get a free 1-up. Link found the doll of himself. So we're gonna.
One thing to note.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that those 1-ups in this game do not respawn. So if you're on your last life and like say you're about to die, that's going to be your last life and you will not get that back if you have to do the Great Palace over. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I don't recommend it on the way back. Just wait for them to, do that. Jump into the soup. Sometimes they like to troll and do that. Just make sure you don't land on that super special tile right there. Rebuffer fairy here. And then cast it once you go down. And we're gonna go left. This is the final spicy chicken of the run. And it's one of the most dangerous ones. So this room. This room may look like it's... Oh, look, we have to go this way, right? No, there's a dead end over here. So where do we go? Well, first off, we're gonna get chased. I like to count, like, 4 or 5 blocks from this side right here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 2 blocks right here. We're gonna break them. And there's a fall through right there. And that's gonna bring us to this drop point. Going forward here, when you get to this point, make sure right when you get past this ceiling, you jump and upstab. You're gonna get a giant mega bot spawn on you, which is like a massive blue bot. And you just go squish and do that. Now these... Did you just push the bot? I did. These bots actually have like so much HP, it's not even funny. And it sucks. So yeah, just jump, squish the big bot, walk past it. This part right here, this is the last screen in the game that has lava on it in the run. So if you have an extra like 1-up or extra 2 1-ups, go ahead, take a dip. Soothe the skin. Lava's really good for it.
There is another option, but this is probably the fastest and most reliable way to ensure you have full magic, full health going into the Thunderbird fight. But there is another jar.
Yeah. So, like JSR was saying, there's actually 2 50-50 chances over here. So if you're like 1 HP and you need to you have a bunch of magic and you need to restore health, right here, this block, this one that Link's face is in, where his shield is touching, this spot right there has a 50-50 chance of spawning a red Faka or a red jar. We got scammed, so we have to walk all the way over here. Respawn the screen.
There is another one on the other side of that block, and if you kill that Falca, the other jar will despawn if you leave the screen. So you either need to go for both on the same run, or you have to leave like Ice just did.
Yeah. So let's do this. So you can get that red jar.
If you want a 50-50 at getting that both of them on the same one, like give yourself both chances, you could jump over those blocks, come over here and try this one first, and then if you don't get it, you can run like heck because you're gonna have 2 focus there.
Yeah. And then this one, same spot, right in Link's face. There's another red jar. Both of them, like I said, 50-50 chances, so you're not always guaranteed. But yeah, so that's going to be your last safety net of the run, because the next screen is Thunderbird. So if you want to kind of like JSR was saying, if you want to try and go for both 50-50 chances, if you have enough to cast jump, if not, you can kind of make a staircase. My recommendation would be to hopefully have jump and break those 2. Come over, break this one, go down. So see, we got chicken there. That way you can do this. And if you get another chicken there, you can run. And it gets stuck in that tile there. Because if not, he's just gonna be like, and he's just gonna, you know, go at you like Donkey Kong.
So now you kind of see why we recommend taking the death abuse, but if you're on your last life, this is pretty much your only option. And you do need magic for the Thunderbird fight. You absolutely do, especially if you're Magic 7, like most of the faster runners will be going all the way through without taking a level up.
Okay. Thunderbird. Thunderbird, Thunderbird, Thunderbird. Alright, so there is, depending on what your magic level is, there's multiple ways to approach Thunderbird. For the runners who are going for Magic 8, you have more leniency with casting spells. So if you are Magic 8, you can cast Jump, Shield, Reflect, Buffer, Thunder. Do not cast it before you get to the boss. Go to the center here, come back to this first tile, wait for T-Bird to spawn, and you can get a free hit. Thunderbird's hitbox is the giant white jewel on his head. Not the face, or a little bit, it's like a little bit below it, but it's the big white jewel on Thunderbird's head. So, reason you cast Reflect. Hey, Ice, I thought Reflect only reflected bullets back. Wrong. So what Reflect actually does for Link in this game is it actually shrinks his hitbox to a very, very small state. And it also gives his shield reflective powers. So to show you, without Reflect, if you get hit by Thunderbird's fireballs, you take damage anywhere. So I took damage on my foot there, right? I took damage on my face. I took damage on my ankle. With Reflect casts, it turns it into a very small hitbox. So now, if I can get it. That one, that one hit me directly. But like, when you're jumping into them, a lot of the times, those fireballs will just miss. So like, without Reflect, I would have gotten hit every single time I touched these fireballs. And you see how, like, I'm walking through half of these? So that's the power of Reflect on Thunderbird, is it just completely shrinks Link's hitbox down to, like, the size of, like, one square.
And you might be wondering earlier in the video, if you were watching this and being like, why are the top runners not taking Magic 8? Why are they taking Magic 7? Well, the reason is top runners are used to fighting the Thunderbird without Reflect mostly in like backup circumstances. Because in all keys, you always have Magic 8. But if you miss level or if you're in a race, you take attack 9. You only have Magic 6 or 7 here, and this fight becomes much harder. So it takes a lot of experience to understand how to avoid those fireballs. And that is exactly why Magic 8 is useful in this Big 20 goal and why you should consider it. Otherwise, you're going to probably want to spend some time getting used to this fight, practicing this fight. It's not going to be something you can master in an afternoon. You're probably going to have to go, a few times before the race.
Yeah, and this fight does take a good bit of practice. There's strats you can do, like if you don't want to cast Jump, if you're more comfortable with fighting him with regular Jump height, you can do Shield, Reflect, Thunder, and you can do what we like to call the pendulum strat. So, cast this. I like to go off to the side here, get him over there, so I can get him up like that. It'll bring him down like this. You can jump, stab twice, bait him over, get him to bounce back. So you want to get him to bounce like a pendulum in the middle platform there. That's a strat you can do without jump. For the advanced runners, we're gonna cast Jump, Shield, because we're not gonna have enough for Reflect at Magic 7. At Magic 7, you'll have enough for Shield, Jump, and Thunder. So do that. You can typically get 2 stabs there. Just get a multiple stabs there. And kill T-Bird. Or you could even do Jump, Reflect, if you're very confident, and you just want the small hitbox.
Which you could take Life 8 to give yourself a little bit extra life, but at that point you might as well take Magic 8.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to approach this. I would definitely recommend, if you have the ability to, just create a save point or a save state right in this room. That way you can walk in, buffer Jump, buffer Shield, and Thunder. For your Magic 7 runners. If you're Magic 8 runner, you can cast Reflect. Wait for him to show up on the screen, cast Thunder.
You will be very sad if you cast Thunder too early.
Yeah. You'll have to let T-Bird kill you.
That actually reminds me of something I wanted to bring up. If you are a Magic 8 runner, you're going to want to at least experience this fight, as Ice was saying, with one of those spells not cast, in case for some reason you goof up during the race. If you mess up your XP route, if you take too many deaths, something like that. Just in case you end up having to fight this fight at Magic 7, I would go into this fight, when you practice it, and try it without Reflect, for example, just to see what we're talking about, so that you understand in case that happens on race day.
Yeah. And then one more, just to kind of show you. I actually prefer Reflect over Shield, to be honest. That's just me.
But no jumpless?
I have to have Jump for my strat.
And like he was saying, there are other strats. There's the what we call the Panic Dolphin, which is a very fast down left, down right mash, which is difficult and dangerous. There's pendulum strats like he's been showing off. You can actually stand all the way on the right side of the screen, and most of the fireballs that the Thunderbird throws are going to just fly off the screen and not hit you because of the way hitboxes work in this. So if for some reason you just need to reset the fight and kind of calm down, catch your breath, get a bearing, you can actually show that off real quick if you want.
Yeah, so
just go on the right side of the screen, stand there, and wait until Thunderbird is set back up where you want them, so that you can reset the fight the way you want. Because if, for example, Thunderbird gets out of whack, like you mess up your pendulum and he's wrecking you and you're one hit away, the left side is a little bit more dangerous, as you just saw. The right side is where it's a lot. Now you're not completely safe. Keep that in mind. But look how much safer you are here, in case you need to just catch your breath.
Yeah. So like you can stand on this side. It's like a 90% safe spot. You can still take damage from fireballs that don't, get knocked out of bounds here. And if you're doing the pendulum strats, you can wait for him to bounce up, and then go. And then, bam. The fight just basically reset, and you can finish off the fight. The right side is your safest bet, 100%.
If you don't grab the key in midair, you get disqualified, by the way.
Cost you 12 years.
Yes. When they say all keys, that's what they're talking about. I'm kidding, by the way. That's not true. So it does technically save time if you get a midair key grab. It does save a little bit of time. A tiny bit. Minuscule.
Pretty safe T-Bird fight.
I mean, for adequate strats for race day, spend an afternoon or two on Magic 8 strats, get used to his movement, understand how to bail if you need it, and you should be fine. You'll handle it like a champion.
All right, final boss here.
I dare you. Do it.
What?
Item.
Alright, final boss here. If you are Magic 8, you will have enough magic to cast Shield for this fight, and Shield alone. Dark Link will still hit you for an entire square, so be careful. A good thing is if you do happen to game over on Dark Link, Thunderbird is dead permanently. You do not have to fight Thunderbird again. But you do have to traverse another 5.5 minutes of Great Palace. So just be careful when you're fighting Dark Link. There is very, very, very free safety strats for Dark Link, and it's very, very rare that he trolls you. So I'm going to show you the safest fight you can do, is once he spawns, we're going to walk all the way to the left. Crouch, face that way, and then stay crouched and just stab.
Of course he's trolling. Marathon.
And that's your freest Dark Link fight you'll ever get. It's faster for intermediate level runners to do the same strat. So like, this is how you just fight Dark Link. You don't actually have to fight him. Just walk into this left corner, frame turn, stab, jump, stab, jump, stab, stab, jump, stab, jump, stab, jump, stab.
GG.
And then your timing obviously ends when Link is in the center of the screen, because he does move whenever you defeat Dark Link into the center of the screen, so you can spawn the Triforce. But yeah, like it's not an easy run, I can say that much. There's a lot of practice that you'll need to put into this, because you could lose a lot of time in this run. Game overing in Valley of Death loses about 4 minutes. Game overing in GP at the end of the palace loses 5 minutes. And this game is, you have potential of losing a lot of time. So like, just learning like how to fight certain enemies. So like anything that has a shield and a sword, they have a very, very largely open hitbox on their forehead. So if you jump and do a falling stab, a falling standing stab, as we call it. If you do something like that, 9.5 times out of 10, you'll get a hit. And it's good for either taking the enemies out or knocking them back and then jumping and bouncing on them with down stab.
There is some cool combat that you'll see in the full speed run, like double hits and triple hits even, but honestly, in the Big 20 run, that stuff's probably not really going to save you much time. In fact, double hits in general, even in the full run, only save a little bit of time in very specific spaces, usually on Death Mountain.
Yeah.
But like Ice was saying with the falling stabs, that's one of the safest ways to fight, like Lizalfos. I'm trying to think of other enemies. Like, it's not really the best way to fight the Focas. Like, I like to do, or at least for me, I like to do falling crouching stabs into their hitbox. Or just try to bounce over them. Like, it's kind of one of those things where everybody has a different preference, and that's what's great about this game. Is like there's so many different ways to execute combat and movement. It is really surprising to me. Something I didn't know until I learned the speedrun is just how diverse and like buttery smooth. I don't know how else to put it. Like this combat engine is just so good. I guess the most consistent thing to say is, like, you'll never stab the way that the game intends you to stab. You'll never just walk up to an enemy and stab. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, you lose a ton of time just by doing that, because Link just completely comes to a screeching halt if you just stab.
I think that's why a lot of people didn't like this game. They found it really hard, is that they feel like that's the intended way to fight. And maybe it is, but there are so many other ways to fight, whether it's intended by Nintendo or not. And the speedrun, you'll never see a speedrunner stopping and stabbing, except for in that Darkwing fight. That's like literally the only place I could think of.
I'm just kind of like showing off more like advanced tech here. Actually getting cooperating spawns? Wow.
Not actually in a run, that's why.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't ever try for that jump. It's not worth it. Just go down the stairs. Do that.
I mean, if you're feeling...
Advanced runners, here, I can show you here.
I mean, if you're feeling risky, you can try it. It's just really risky. Pretty much everything Ice is showing you now is reasonably consistent, but will take practice. A lot of it's timing based, like especially in this case. And it is possible to fight these Lizalfos if you need the XP. It's pretty advanced and pretty precise, so I would just do kind of what Ice was doing. If you're looking to save time at a safe and reasonable level, like these are pretty intermediate advanced strats you're seeing right now. So if you're looking for the optimized way to get through that's not going to take you a month to master, this is probably the best way to take it.
Yeah.
You notice he's going at full on 877 here. So he will not be taking any XP unless it's coincidental. Like, he's not going to be killing anything on purpose. He's not going to be getting any P-bags. He's not going to be getting any safeties. This is basically how a top runner would run the game, for the most part, with a few strats missing.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I just wanted to kind of like give like a quick like look at like how the run is expected to go at like a higher level. And not to discourage or anything, but just like to show you like what this run is like capable of. So for like this room, like JSR was telling you earlier, you can just walk. I messed up by missing that stab, but I could just walk here.
Unless you jump. If you jump, their height changes, and then you might want to be careful. Also, that can happen.
Sometimes you just get a free little fucker like that.
Oh, the candy. Oh, by the way, we never actually mentioned stabbing in the elevators. It's pretty free. It saves a few frames. I don't know exactly how many frames it is. It's probably not much. Also, you notice he's ferrying while in the elevator. You want to ferry before you start moving because Link accelerates instantly from stop to full speed as a fairy, whereas as human Link or Hylian Link, he has to ramp up. In fact, we abused this in a glitch that you cannot do in this category called Fairy Feet, which kind of looks like a screen scroll, but it's mechanically very different. It's only possible because of the fairy's acceleration. In fact, is that why it is? I don't think that's why with the keyhole. I think it's her hitbox, right?
Yeah, the fairy's hitbox is like 1 pixel.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that was why it was the keyhole or not.
Another thing that's what a Scott B Keeler room looks like, should look like.
That was very clean. But yeah, so if you're ever going to ferry in those rooms, sorry, I was getting a little off topic. If you're ever going to ferry in those rooms, do it before you start moving, while you're still in the elevator, and you'll save a few frames there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of here.
So that's typical. It's definitely not optimal. That was not a great room. Not by anything Ice did. Bad RNG.
Yeah.
That's typical what you'll see. And you'll notice Ice just basically said, the heck with it. I'm going to take some damage. It's not that big of a deal because he's going to be abusing his death abuse right before the Thunderbird fight. So it basically... It's free. It's free real estate. You might as well, if you're finishing with, if you're gonna die with all that health, the health did you no good anyways. I squish. By the way, I know this goes without saying, but if you've ran Zelda 2 long enough, you probably have done this. I certainly have. Don't take the tomato soup bath if you're on your last life. Make sure you remember, if you're not sure, pause the game, and you'll see it'll say Link 1 or Link 2, the little icon. In fact, can you show that real quick? Yeah, you see how it started showing a 1? It means he has 1 additional life in stock.
If it says 0, that means you're on your last.
Don't do it. You'll be very sad.
So this is a Magic 7, T-Bird. So I don't have Reflect. Still a pretty free fight with shield on. But you notice that I do not have enough magic to cast shield. Don't really need it. Especially if you're gonna corner cheese.
Yeah, there is a quote-unquote intended way to fight Dark Link. From a pure potential standpoint, it's faster, but even top runners don't even bother. We just do the corner cheese because this is so close to optimal, and you have to fight him perfectly, and it's so difficult. It is so difficult to fight Dark Link anywhere close to perfectly. You're better off just doing this. The top runners do that.
Yep. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for beginner intermediate tutorial. If there's anything that you think that I might have missed, or if there's any questions, please reach out to me in Discord. I do not mind getting pinged. Or just send me a DM, ping me in the Zelda 2 channel. It doesn't matter. My DMs are open. I'm sure JSR's DMs are open as well. So feel free to hit him up as well. Reach out to him. And we'll be able to tell you, like, any kind of questions that you have, we'll be able to get you those answers.
And maybe in a couple of days after this has been posted in the Discord, ask us about our river dance manip. We might have one.
Yeah. River Dance, where you play the flute on the overworld to defeat the little demon and then spawn the path down to the Wilson fences. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and publish this and upload it now. So thanks for watching. JSR and I here hope this helps with learning this game. If you have any questions about combat, please reach out. We can always help. It is not a problem. And hope to see y'all bust out some fire times. Anything else you want to add, James?
Yeah, good luck. I can't wait to see y'all bust out some fire times. I'm excited.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.